Hello world, I'm out to pick raspberries, so I thought I'd do a sort of state of the garden address. President gets a State of the Union, I get a State of the Garden. Um, Start here with my one hillbilly experiment, catnip in a kiddie swim pool. It looks oh so thrilling. It looks like catnip. It's nothing too special, but it seems to be working out alright. Moving along, let's go over to the strawberry bed. You'll probably notice along the way that my grass is much higher than it should be, but I've explained in previous videos that situation and hopefully remedy that this year or early next year by finally getting a lawnmower instead of relying on somebody else to cut it who should be cutting it but isn't. Anyway, strawberries, these are ever bearing, so I'm getting some here and there now. Casting a shadow, but there's a little bit going on. I should have picked this one a couple of days ago, it looks like. Add it to the basket. Got a few more. Let's see. It's not quite done. Probably call that one done though. It's close. Strawberries don't get ripe after you pick them, so you really gotta wait till they're done for them to be any good, but they run the risk of getting too done awfully quick, overripe. I try and keep these things wet, man, but it has just been hot and not rainy at all here in Ohio. That's not quite done yet. So I haven't had time to weed. I've probably mentioned it before, but I'm studying for the bar exam. So I really haven't had a ton of time in the garden or to make videos or anything. Let's see. Here's the asparagus. It's a lot of it going on, so that bodes well for next year. I think next year will be my first really just good harvest. Flower bed. You can see my dog got in there and tore up a bunch, so I tried to transplant some poppies. It's been hard to keep everything wet, so it went okay. So it looks like some of them are going to make it. They have really small root systems, but they were hard to transplant because of that. He also tore up some of my cosmos, but I got some flowering. As you can see, I'll back up. Had to add another fence to that, but the bachelor's buttons are looking quite good. It's my first time ever growing those, so I'll be growing those in the future too. Some hollyhocks and some asters down there. These things, whatever they are, I forget. The dog tore out the label. It looks like there's one bloom down there, but nothing special yet. Moving along, added in this flower bed this year along the side because I had some pavers left from years ago. I think it looks okay. It might just become a place for roses, or I was thinking maybe I'll grow some more blueberries there, but right now there's a variety of a bunch of different flowers and a few weeds. What are you gonna do? My big blue bush and this pink tree. If anybody knows what those are called, leave it in a comment because I can't remember. I bought them years ago before I really paid any attention to my gardening. But I'd like to know what they're called. I'm not even sure if this is actually a tree or just a bush someone cleverly trimmed to look like a tree. Got a bunch of volunteers I planted from those, so I'll be adding those around the yard in the coming years. I left a bunch of pots at the base of this one and this one to catch seeds, so I hopefully get some more volunteers, but in a more controlled manner. You can see they sort of get all over. End up yanking a lot of them out. Let's see, moving on. Had some nice looking daylilies. Some zucchinis I never got around to planting because I didn't really have space for them. It's starting to look a little rough, but my Japanese maple volunteer that I transplanted at the beginning of the year. Some mums that shouldn't be blooming yet. Some petunias. geraniums that aren't looking so hot. A petunia that grew out of the crack from the seeds falling last year that I've just let go because it amuses me. More petunias. More mums that shouldn't be blooming yet. The rose bushes, knockout roses. My grandma keeps those. She keeps a lot of these flowers. She pretty much does everything in terms of flowers. You can't see it, but it's hard to tell. There's some more annuals in here in the front. Look like asters. Over the edge down here by the hillbilly greenhouse that I haven't moved yet because I don't really want it in the barn at the moment. There's some tomato plants and some more annual flowers down there. It is something like 90 degrees today, so I'm sweating into my glasses already. Let's see. Come down here. The pepper plant I put against the wall. Everything looks like it could use some water. Thought maybe my grandma would while I was out, but guess not. So I'm going to have to probably just let them ride it out today, but I don't like the water in the middle of the day. I forget why. Someone told me along the way, probably because it just evaporates for the most part. It's so hot it never gets a chance to soak in. My Japanese maple tree. Thrilling. It's probably been in there for 5 or 6 years now. Another raggedy looking pepper plant. That reminds me, I was forced to make the decision to dump the organics for a year. It's too expensive for the moment. It's just costs a lot of money to spray with neem oil, but I sprayed this one with Liquid 7. That's what I've been using this year. Well, I used the neem oil I had left over, and I'm still planning on using that on my lettuce and anything else, probably the beans as well, because I'm more inclined to eat those without washing them. But it seems to have had a ill effect on that pepper. So moving along, trying to keep this short, but got a lot to cover. You can see what's going on here. I put a hillbilly situation. I don't know if I'm just a hillbilly or I'm lazy or what, but someday I hope to have drip lines or at least a soaker hose or something as opposed to my sprinkler on a ladder, but it works for now. Like I said, I've been too busy to weed. I really need to find some time or pay one of my little cousins or something to do it because my peppers and everything else, there's a lot of weeds coming in through the paper. There were just a lot of weeds that had already started before we managed to get the mulch down, and the mulch isn't really going to stop them from growing through. But the mulch is shredded paper, shredded newspaper for the most part, if you couldn't tell. But some of these peppers are looking really nice. These first half of these 2 rows here, everything else looks pretty raggedy. The tomatoes I transplanted are looking fairly solid. I can't convince my mom yet to get me any stakes, so they may very well end up growing on the ground. So my grandma said they used to do it back in the day. I wish I could get stakes to stake them up. I had these trellis systems that, if you look back at my old videos, you can see they look like my cucumber trellis in the back, that I dismantled because I was under the impression I was getting stakes, but like a lot of things in life, that fell through. No big deal. The tomatoes will probably be fine on the ground. Just got to watch out from getting too wet or they might rot. But here's my one glorious zucchini. It's the only one that's really doing any well. Say there was probably one here. I'm certain there was one there that died off. Couple more there that are looking okay. Well, not okay. One's looking okay. One's looking haggard. I just dropped my camera, but it looks like I'm still recording. Beans. Let's see. Here's one I could pick. A little on the big side. Didn't notice it yesterday when I was out here picking. But these are Bush Lake, Blue Lake 247, I think. That's what they're called. Bush beans. No need to stake those up. I planted a bunch more. I direct seeded a bunch more beans. I'm hoping that pans out. Lettuce is starting to look pretty good. Also seeded a bunch more lettuce, hoping it comes up. That was a few days ago. Now we're on to the raspberries. Now the first half of these raspberries, I may end up getting yanked out at some point. I'm going to show you here in a second, but they just don't, they're not like my other raspberries. They're not as good. They come in these weird little pods. Let's see if you can see what they've been coming. There's some that aren't open yet. They come in those weird little pods, and they're just not like, they're more like a wild berry. It's sticky to get them, and there's just not much to them. And I'm told, I haven't eaten any. I'm kind of weird. I don't eat a lot that I grow. I give it to other people. I haven't had them, but the reviews haven't been that great. Yeah, they're just like little clusters of, little ball clusters rather than like, here, I'll move down here real quick and probably find one good one at least. Here we go. The other kind that I'm probably going to replace those with, they don't yield quite as well, but they're more like the raspberries you're used to seeing in the store or whatever. So, put those away. Harvest some more of those, hoping to get enough to make some preserves. Down here, planted some more cucumber seeds, but the ones I have are finally starting to come along and climb my trellis a little bit. Got some blueberries on the outside there. I've only had one this year actually put on blueberries, which is where I'm going to end the video. Hope these cucumbers keep coming along. I've had to water a lot lately. It's kind of driving me crazy, but you got to do what you got to do. Again, lots of weeds. It's really been an off year for me. But here we go. It's my blueberry. I'm going to end down here. Pretty large size blueberries. I don't really know anything about yield, or really when I'm supposed to pick them. It looks pretty good to me. I haven't gotten a whole lot, maybe like 10 so far. It looks like I might get 20 by the end of the year. That's 10 including these 3. But that pretty much covers everything. Doesn't look like it's going to be a phenomenal year. My time-lapse camera there will really show the results, the growth over the year. Probably get a decent tomato harvest. Not expecting a whole lot out of my peppers, unfortunately. But the beans and the lettuce might go okay. So, not the most phenomenal years, but considering how little time I have, this bar studying really takes a toll out of you. You try and do it all day long because you don't want to do it again. So if I pass the bar, then oh well, not such a bad deal to have kind of a weak garden. I didn't show the backyard this time. Maybe I'll try and stop out tomorrow during a break and make a video of the flowers in the back and stuff. It's finally looking pretty good. But I've been rambling on long enough. This video is way too long. So, thanks to everybody for watching. See you next time.